First thing you want to do is lay down that motherfucking oil. Make sure that your oil is laid down righteously. If your oil is laid down the correct way and your heat is turned up to about, I say mid-burner, then you're ready to go, right? Let your pan heat up, oil it down. This is motherfucking Papas and Chorizo 101. But he ain't Mexican, that's it. Shit. We're going to see how it gets down right now. Now you got to make sure that your papas are cut up. Make sure that you wash your shit, man. Don't have no dirty ass potatoes, man. Just throwing them in the oil with peelings on them. That ain't the way Mexicans get down. Now trip out on this. You hear that? Cause I got the golden ticket. That's some real shit right there, man. Ooh wee. Get a close up. What's good with it in the hood with it? Back to the collective clips, man. And today, papas, chorizo, and a war story, man. You already know what it is. So I laid my papas down in the pan, oil, grease, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I'm throwing some of that garlic powder in there. Gotta hit it with the garlic powder. This is how you do it, man. Hit it with that garlic powder, a little bit of sal, a little salt, never hurt nobody. Or maybe it did, but fuck it. We're gonna do it anyways. Put a little salt down. Make sure you season your shit up, man. Don't be like an old Karen that throws chicken in the oven straight out the freezer. You know, with no seasoning. Can't do it like that. I'm generous with the pepper. I like to keep that shit salt and peppered up. Like my motherfucking goatee. So I'm very generous with the pepper. Throw the pepper down. Now, number one thing you do. Hit it with the lid one time for it's mine. Gotta hit it. So now I got my papas down, man. Just doing their thing. And I thought I'd tell you guys a little war story. So what's good with it? You guys see the thumbnail. Papas, Chorizo, and a war story, man. And I wanted to talk about this cat from MS, right? MS-13. Now, I remember when I was young, man. You know, I thought all Southsiders were the same. It didn't matter what hood, what barrio they were from. None of that mattered to me, man. The only thing that mattered to me was they were the opposition. They were the threat. They were the other side, right? See, we weren't taught as young Norteños, man, the differences, you know, and what their pleito was, you know, if guys were green lighted, if hoods were Southsiders, but they weren't functioning under a certain wave, or, you know, we didn't care about any of that. If they wore Dodger hats, they were Sureños, and they wore blue, we were fucking pretty much biased, and that's just how that was, you know? But there was a cat from MS-13 that happened to move into town, right? Trip out on this story. So this guy moves in to town, man, and he dressed in Ben Davis's white tees, you know, basic little hairnets once in a while. This is old school shit. This is early 90s. I remember I was a little kid, man, and this is what happened. And how his career changed, right? So I remember when I used to go to this elementary school, and I'm talking about 3rd, 4th grade, me and this cat were cool. You know, he didn't really have too many friends. And at that time, man, this was pre-gangbanging. I really wasn't in the mix. So I didn't know, man. When he came with Ben Davis's one day to school, a sweater and a hairnet, man, I thought it was cool. You know, I thought it looked cool, but that's not the way I dressed. You know, I dressed regular, just regular white t-shirts, some fucking cargo shorts, whatever. So anyways, I started to see him, man, and I started to admire the way he was dressing. Start to jock the style, right? And one day I started talking to him. He was young, man. And he was like, yeah, I got 3 older brothers, and, you know, we're from LA. We're from MS-13. And I didn't know what that was, right? Never asked him, just, you know. So I started to hang around with him a lot. And as I got older, you know, maybe a year later, that's when my primo started to put me up on game on Norteños and how Southsiders were our enemies and whatever, you know. So I remembered that. So this cat ended up getting transferred to a different school. I think they moved to the other side of town or whatever. I never really seen him outside of school. It was always just in school. So about another year passes, man, and I'm kicking it with the homeboy. Homeboy from MGC, Merced Gangsta Crip. Little homie Gabe, right? And trip out on this. So it's me, Gabe, and another white homeboy named Willie. The white boy named Willie, right? Facts. And there was this chick named Jennifer. And I remember Gabe liked this chick. Them brothers be loving them white girls, right? Let me stir these papas up. Right? Ooh-wee, they look good. Keep your lid on them, though, because they're supposed to cook and steam. That's how you make papas right. Papas and chorizo is about to go down. Now I'm gonna make me some eggs on the side. I got a little chile, homemade. Shoo! You know what I mean? A little bit of beans. You know, to get down. So anyways, tortillas 101. So anyways, the homie Gabe gets at me. We're in school. He's like, hey, let's ditch school. Let's go check this girl Jennifer's house. So I'm like, fuck it, let's go. You know what I mean? I was a little badass kid. You know, I remember we were walking. First thing we did was ditch school. We went to 7-Eleven, hit 7-Eleven. The guy's looking at us like, hey, you guys are supposed to be in school, man. The Arab dude was like, man, fuck school. You know what I'm saying? And so we bounced from there and we walked to her house. And I remember I'm asking her, hey, you got this movie? Do you got Back to the Future? Do you got Back to the Future? Right? Because I'm going to watch TV, and, man, the little homie's going to try to get at this shit. We're young, man. He wasn't going to do nothing. There was no penetration or nothing going to happen. He was lucky if this motherfucker got a kiss because the wind was blowing, right? But we're going to tell you how that works out. So, and then get back to the MS guy. So, anyways, we mob. We go over there. We're kicking it. Anyways, man, shit gets out of hand. You know, the homeboy starts stealing shit. And she's starting to get nervous. She's crying like, hey, dirtbag motherfuckers, man, going to a girl's house and stealing shit. And I ain't gonna lie, man, I was like, I'm gonna take her brother's Nintendo, right? So I was on my stealing shit, and she's like, my family's gonna find out. So we get this bright idea to punch holes in the walls and vandalize it, make it look like a burglary. So that way, you know, she doesn't get in trouble. Anyways, quietly as it's kept, 2 days later, there's a knock on my front door. And they're arresting me for vandalism and burglary, right? Somebody done said something. So I'm snatched up, I'm in Juvenile Hall. Now, the way our Juvenile Hall worked back in the day, this is way back in the days, man. I think it was 1411 B Street, old school Juvenile Hall, across from the in Merced, across from the cemetery, right? So I'm over there, and I see the cat from MS. But he's on the other side, right? Because they had like the South 1, South 2, East side, West side, right? Or it was West side. And one side was co-ed with the girls and the guys. The other side was just, you know, they put, if you had like a fucking murder or a hardcore case, they put you on that side, the side without the girls, man. You had to earn your way to some pussy, right? That's just how that was. So anyways, I see him. He's on the other side. And, you know, he's on co-ed and they just throw us in there. Because we're considered gang members and everything. Everyone started to gangbang a little bit. And he was too, but it seemed like they were keeping the Southerners. There was a couple dudes from Atwater and himself, and they were over there on the other side with the girls. They were winning, right? And we was over there in the dick swinging competition. So I see him, and he sees me, and his eyes get big because we haven't seen each other since elementary school. You know, I forgot all about this cat. And he bangs on me through the window. And me estrese ese, right? And I was like, 14, homie, norte, right? So we're going back and forth. And it's crazy how you could be friends with somebody. Forget all the gang shit. We were cool. You know what I'm saying? I used to, every time I got a snack, moms would put a little snack in my backpack. I'd take it, split it, give them a meat, I give them half, you know. This is a cold game, man. How shit works out. Let me stir this up. Oh, wait, these are looking fantastic. Papas and chorizo. That's how Mexicans do with that shit. So now, this cat fucking, he's looking at me kind of funny. Anyways, we're going back and forth. And like I said, man, it's a trip how you could switch from being friends and not even tripping, and then all of a sudden, you know, the gang, like I said, he was always part of that, or his older brothers were, so he thought he was. Then he came into his own. Then let me tell you, it worked out for the cat. So we're gang banging through the windows, never once get a chance to get at each other. Well, there's another cat there from A-Town, from Atwater, man. And his brother, I happened to go to school with, his brother was a homie. He was a norteño, right? They looked identical. You know, I thought he was the homeboy Elias, right? Right when I seen him, I was like, Elias, but he was a little bit shorter. And he was like, so that's it, fucking Elias, right? That was his older brother. It's a trip how it's different in Northern California. You could actually have a brother that's a Sureño and you're a Northerner, right? It's different. Whereas down south, everyone's going to pretty much be Southsiders from the barrio. But up north, because you've had the establishment of the upstaters, the Southsiders, you know, we've had plenty of things where you had brothers from different hoods, brothers from different sides, you know, that were riding on each other. Serious business. So he's like, fuck my brother, I'm whoop-de-whoop, or whatever his name was. And I remember everyone wanted him. He was a wolf case. One of those guys that like to bump baking soda breath through the door, man. He liked to talk hella shit. So anyways, there's a lot more norteños. There's only a few Southsiders, but like I said, they kept us separate. They would just walk past us, you know, and throw gang signs. So anyways, this motherfucker, one day they fuck up. Shower time, right? They would let us all come out the showers. They would give us these robes. It was crazy, these big blue robes. Our toothbrush, that's when we brush our teeth, man, shower. It was kiddie shit, juvenile hall shit. Anyways, they brought these dudes out at the wrong time. Well, they brought him and his celly out. Not that guy from MS, but the other guy, right? And he came out, man, and the homeboys got to hitting him with pencils. Now, trip out. I say that to say this. I did a video yesterday talking about Wes Watson and laughing on how a motherfucker hooped a pencil and got off with a pencil. But I actually seen it happen, right? Where the homeboy, he didn't hoop no pencil, but he had one, right? Where it came from, this mysterious fucking pencil that's floating around California, I don't know. But he had it. He hit the dude a couple times in the, try to hit him in the eye. It was a trip. Anyways, they slammed everyone. This was my very, very, very first North and South little melee or whatever, like incident that really, really, you know, changed my outlook on things. I was like, these dudes really don't like us. Fuck them, right? So anyways, bam, the dude from MS is telling everyone through the windows when he walked past, I'm going to get my runbacks, I'm going to get my runbacks. Indeed, he did, right? So when they release people, it's like different. You'll be locked up and you'll be gang banged out and fuck you and fuck this, right? And then when you get up to the front for them to release you, it was just a little room, right? You know, they give you your regular clothes, you put them on. Everyone's happy. Didn't matter where you're from. Hey, fool, I'm going home, man, right? You only did 22 days. You act like you fucking just did life. They bring him out with one of my homeboys, Mingle, right? Mingle was with the shit, with the business back in the day. He's well known, right? And Mingle's getting dressed out, right? He's getting ready to jam, and this fool flights him. You know, this was the word, that this fool flighted him right there. Like, fuck that, I'm getting my runbacks. They turn his ass back around, he catches a new charge, they take him right back in, right? Mingle gets to get out with his hair fucked up. You know, so anyways, through the years, this guy started to gain a reputation. You know, we get out of Juvenile Hall, whatever. He starts to gain a reputation. It was all Point Bulletin, but he moved to a city called Los Baños, which is still Merced County, but it's out the way. And I'm going to keep it real. We never went into Los Baños to go, you know, hunting. They had a gang of Norteños there that would do their thing with the Southsiders. So there was really no reason for us to go that way or to do anything. So anyways, fucking Vato, he moves out there and I go to CYA. Okay, so I'm in NRCC, which is the Northern California Reception Center. It was in Sacramento off Ramona, right? Ramona Drive. And I'm right there and I'm in Dorm 1. They put me in Dorm 1 for the youngsters, and I'm meeting a lot of homies, and I told all the stories, man, how we would get into it. You know, we were, back then we were still cool with the Bulldogs. It was Bulldogs and Norteños were the same thing. There was no difference. Bulldogs was just their hood. They were F-14ers. So Marceli's a perro, rest in peace to the homeboy, you know what I mean? And he's giving me the rundown or whatever, and I see this cat's on Dorm 2. You know, how he wiggled to Dorm 2, I don't know. Sometimes you fuck up, I guess. He got to Dorm 1 and he fucked up. And so they shot him to Dorm 2 with a... That's as real as it get. That motherfucking pepper got me. So anyways, this motherfucker... Let me wash my hands. Can't be a dirtbag, man. I see motherfuckers picking their nose. Talking about, hey, you got to put this much garlic in it. Right now, fuck you. You killed it. You already dicked it up. So anyways, this motherfucker... I see him on Dorm 2 and I'm like, hey, I tell myself, hey, that's that fucking fool. And I start giving him the whole rundown of the story I'm giving you guys. And he's like, well, fuck that fool. You know what I mean? If we can get at him, we're going to get at him. We're talking high powered shit. We ain't going to be able to get at him, right? But we're talking that shit. So years passed, right? I ended up going from there to Nellis, from Nellis to Preston, from Preston to Carl Holton. And I run into this cat in Preston, right? And I don't really tell too many stories on Preston because I got into a couple incidences with perros and then it was lockdown. It was Tamarack. I was on Greenbrier, right? It was Tamarack, and then it was straight to Carl Holton because I had a drug program. I've told everyone the reason I had a drug program is because I thought I could manipulate some shit and tell people, hey, let me, hey, I got a drug program. Keep me up north in OH clothes. They did it. They sent me to Nellis because Nellis had drug program cottages, which was Madison and Kennedy, man. And just because you went to the drug program, it was an 8-month, 9-month drug program, didn't mean you were getting out in 8 or 9 months. It just means that's how long it took to complete that program. So a lot of us went there to them drug programs because fucking we try to manipulate. It's just part of the game, man. This politics and YA, everyone was trying to hustle. So anyways, I run into this cat in Preston. He's on this compa. It's called Ironwood. And I spotted him. And at first, he didn't recognize me. You know, this is years have passed, man. I didn't recognize him either. You know, he was more bigger. And I was skinny. I was real skinny in YA, man. That's why a lot of people call me skinner, skinny boy, whatever. I was very thin. Still I'm thin, you know what I mean? But I'm nice though. Anyways, so I see this cat, and when he does recognize me, man, his eyes get big. Now at this time, it was kind of a half 60 with the Southsiders. We weren't really beefing. I mean, if the funk was on, the funk was on, but we were functioning on the same yards together. We were going to school together. You know, it wasn't like it was fucking all out war. It was more so like that with the Bulldogs, because the Bulldogs constantly were getting off with North and South, right? And then they started to kick it with the Southerners a little bit. The Southerners put the red light on them, so they were able to chill. They started teaming up against us, right? And it was us and the C-14ers, the Crips. So anyways, I catch this guy, right? I catch him, man. We're going to the gym. Their compas coming from the gym. Usually, they'd be long gone, right? But we bump heads, right? And I'm like, what's up, fool? And he was like, what's up, pussy? All right? Boom. Melee kicks off, north and south, right? The homies are like, damn, fool, what happened? I was like, I recognize that fool. He's from my county. Fuck him, right? That was that. So anyways, years pass. I forget about this cat, man. And I guess in the city of Los Baños, motherfuckers was headhunting him. I guess he got out and got right with the business, you know? One thing I can say about the cat, and I gotta fucking respect him, homes. I'm gonna respect it, was he always was what he was. He never denied what he was, never turned down a fade, never fucking, you know, hesitated. You hear those stories where Vatos hit fools up, or you see it on Instagram, the little posts. People always like try to gangbang through the internet, right? They'll put up little posts where Vatos are hitting fools up and fools are just all quiet and shit. Oh, gangbang, eh? You seen the one in Chitorranas and a gang of different people? And people use that as ammunition to talk shit and to fucking play that north-south shit, right? This fool was none of that. This fool was, if you hit him up, pumps, he'll hit you up before you hit him up. He's one of them cats, he's gonna get off. He was really representing that MS shit, right? So, hella fools are hunting him in Los Baños. They're trying to get him. I guess he gets caught up in a murder case, man. And he goes out there to El Salvador. That's where he was from. And, you know, he starts to kick it over there. And I heard this story from his brother, man. His brother actually fell off, stopped gangbanging, man. His older brother. And I ran into him on a 50-50 yard, man. And he told me what it was. You know what I mean? You know, he was a big time Christian dude, I remember. Cool dude. Anyway, so he tells me fucking that his brother went out there, you know, and because the way it works out there is the MS that are out there, you know, the Maros Autruchas that are out there, some of them function with the ones from California, some of them are cool with it, but they think they're like beneath them. A lot of them think like, hey, you ain't fucking us. And because he was from Northern California, anyways, he tells this dude, hey, I'm from fucking, you know, Merced County, from up north, man, but I'm MS-13. It was too much mumbo jumbo there. There was too much going on. They automatically assumed that he was an undercover norteño, even though he had MS tattoos all over him. And, you know, the word on the curb was they took this dude out, you know, to a field, man, and did some pretty horrible things to him, chopped him up, man. I just remembered the other day thinking about him and thinking about, you know, the shit that we went through. Sometimes, man, you beef with people. You go through some shit when you're kids, man. You grew up and you reflect back to it like, man, it wasn't really that serious. You know, we were gangbanging because that's what we thought was the cool thing to do. We didn't really hate each other. We were friends. I shared my motherfucking Twinkies with this cat, right? We were cool. Anyways, prior to that, you know, one thing I could say about him was this dude being El Salvadorian. This was my first glimpse into the differences between Mexicans and Vatos from El Salvador. And the hate, right? The hate, because I remember he had a tattoo on his stomach. And I never really looked, man, you know, when he was in Juvenile, he had it from Juvenile Hall. I never really looked at what it was. You know, I thought it was some gang shit, whatever, homes. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to look at the motherfucker's fucking stomach and dick, right? So, I guess he had real big Mexican killer on his stomach. And he was with that shit, man, meaning that, you know, he was against Mexicans, which I always tripped out because, you know, and correct me if I'm wrong, you know, the MS-13, I mean, there's a long history. I went into it, you know, how they started out as stoners and stoner, you know, all that bullshit. And later on, you know, they adapted to being affiliated with the Southerners and whatever. You know, and some of them in the feds, they still beef with Southerners. And just, it's all over the place. But I'll never forget that cat had Mexican killer on his stomach. He was a little bit different, man. He was with that shit. He was with them activities. But yeah, they definitely, they took him out there in a field, man, and dismembered him, killed him, left him out there. It took like a year for his family to find him. He was reported as missing, and out there, it's a different country, man. They don't even trip. It is what it is. It happens all the time. They eventually did find him, man, and it was, you know, I don't know what led up to it, man. There could have been some internal beef. But from what his brother told me was that he fucking, you know, they mistaked him for being a norteño, and that's what I trip on with, like, these upstaters, the Southsiders. You know, there's a lot of vatos that are from, like, say, San Jose, and they get sharks tatted on them, and Sharkstead or Sanjo and whatever, and they're Southsiders, or there's vatos from San Fran. You know, there's upstaters from everywhere, homes. And they're pretty, one thing I can say about the upstaters, I gotta respect them, is that they're down with the city they're from, homes. You know, they're not going to sugarcoat or add preservatives to anything. They're going to let you know exactly what it is. Wait up, these papas are going to burn like a motherfucker if I don't. I'm over here getting sidetracked. Oh, they look so fucking fantastic. You guys want a close-up? Let me give you a close-up. Shoo! Steamed up. That's how it's supposed to look, though. I'm gonna hit them with the chorizo. I'll show you guys the finished product at the end of this video. Let me set this up right. This is ghetto shit. I don't give a fuck. My stove's dirty and shit. I don't care. But anyways, so yeah, man, they killed him, and it's unfortunate because I was reading into doing a video about MS. You know, another one that's a little in depth to what they're going through right now with their government and shit. And I reflected back to that cat. They called that cat Psycho, man. And rest in peace to Psycho. I wanted to say that, man. Even though we went through our hardships and went through our war, I respect the enemy. You have to, as a person, respect, you know, Vatos from the other side, man. You know, if you don't respect them, then why'd you fight in the first place? You know, then there was never no, you know, if you don't respect someone, Holmes, you just walk over them. You know, someone that's your true enemy that's down to put the wiggle down, you respect that. Anyways, getting back to saying about the Upstanders being from different cities up north, you know, I always tripped on how, you know, when I was locked up in Hawaii, I know it's changed now. I know they gained the respect, Holmes, and they've earned it righteously. But back in them days, man, you know, the Southerners from down south, which I always consider them the real Sureños, right? Even though they all of them are, right? If you claim what you claim, Holmes. They used to give them a hard time, bro. They used to have to prove themselves in YA. It was different, you know. But it was what it was. It was selective politicking. It was picking and choosing. There was some big ass dude from Sanho, I remember, was there. He was from Vicky's town, and he was embraced immediately. I guess he was too big to fight, right? But there was other cats that would come from, say, there was one cat from Gilroy. He was a Southsider, man. He wiggled in there. They gave him the business, man. They dropped him level immediately. They weren't going to let him function no matter what. And that's just how it is. Anyways, man, that's the story of Psycho, the Mexican killer, he called himself, right? Motherfuckers was on him. And ultimately, at the end of the day, this is the trippy part about it. What happened? His own homeboys got at him. His own homeboys killed him. You know, all because they thought, you know, him being from Northern California didn't fit their game plan. I guess the Vatos in El Salvador even hate North too, right? I don't know, man. And like I said, could have been more to it, but I thought about him the other day, and I just wanted to throw the story out there. So anyways, I'm going to make this papas and chorizo. So after you do this, and it cooks down and steams down, the papas are nice and tender and soft, then you add your chorizo. I use this one right here. Bam, because it's cheap, and it's all beef, and that's what I do. But I'm going to hit it with my chorizo, and then I'll show you guys the finished product when it's done. Papas and chorizo, Warstory with the gun. You already know what it is. With that being said, hope that you move with a purpose. Get everything that you want coming, and remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the struggle to strive, to struggle. And man, you know, live your life, man. Live your life. And sometimes you need to sit back if you lived a rough life when you were young and reflect back and think about some of the things, some of the things you could have did differently to change your life. You know, I'm not here to promote gang violence and to promote, you know, going to prison and all that. It is what it is. If you're from fucking Califas and you were around in the 90s, you went to the Pinta. If you didn't, you're lucky. You know, most of us didn't. We did go. And that was just it. So anyways, I'm trying to spotlight to help the youth, man, so that way you guys can understand that, you know, I'm so privileged and happy to be able to make papas and chorizo. You don't know how many there dudes that are doing life right now that are my age, my era, man, that wish they could fucking taste a papa with a little chorizo on it. But, you know, unfortunately, they're not able to. And it's a bad thing. You know, I wish the best wishings upon everybody, even blessings. With that being said, man, thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's gonna be the head that wears the crown. I'm gonna continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in, and that's giving you guys the best possible content I can. The Mexican killer, Psycho, that motherfucker was crazy. Bang, bang. So at the completion of the papas and chorizo, this is what it looks like. Little homemade salsa, corn tortillas. If you're Mexican, you know what it is. Gotta be corn. Papa chorizo, little cilantro. Gotta have a serrano on the side. And that's exactly what it is. You can smell that shit, huh? It's banging.